Hey, Kyle.
Hey, man.
Guess what I have in my hand right now?
I hope it's a sticker.
It is a sticker. It's a sticker with both of our faces on it. What do you think about them?
It's fantastic. I remember creating that image, and I still really like it at this point.
I was going to say, you designed it. You better like it.
Still, I think it's pretty slick.
Listen, there are breweries all across this fine country of ours that have this sticker on some walls.
Yeah.
And if the people want a sticker, how can they get one, Kyle?
They can just reach out and say, hey, we enjoyed Drep and Stone.
Right.
Maybe leave a comment on a post.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, let's make that a must.
Okay.
If you would like a Drep and Stone sticker,
Yeah.
go to the previous episode.
What should they do? Comment on the post somehow?
Yep. Comment on that post.
Tag a friend?
Yeah. Let's say tag a friend on that one.
Okay. Comment on the post, tag a friend, and then tag us too.
Yep. We'll reach out to you once you've done that.
Yeah.
We'll pick, a couple people.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll get in touch with you and see if we can't get you a sticker.
Yeah.
Put that on your computer, on your Tumblr, on your car. Man, wherever you
Who
want.
uses Tumblr anymore?
Tumblr, like a vessel that you drink from.
Oh,
that
like,
kind of
like one of those high class.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Like a Yeti.
Oh no, we can't endorse those people.
Okay, like like an abominable snowman.
Yeah, one of those.
A Sasquatch.
Oh, skunk ape. We're in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, and we'll grab a handful of comments.
Yeah.
We'll reach out, get some info, and we'll send a sticker your way.
Sure. Hey, and
free of charge.
Indeed, that's how you get some sexy swag. Hey, welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass
Wow.
and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle. Man, I am literally at the same table as you.
Well,
You just yelled. Were you yelling at somebody else?
yeah, that guy over there. You see him?
No.
No, not that one. That one.
No.
Okay.
Anyway,
I just want to make sure you heard me. Is what I'm trying to say.
I got it.
I mean, you were wearing
I'm ready.
headphones, and there's a
Yes.
microphone in front of you. Do you want me to turn your volume up?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm great, actually. How are you?
I'm really well too.
Welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast.
Thank you.
It's a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation.
Is
I'm
that,
Kyle.
that does not feel right. Like I feel icky. Like it feels icky.
Can't do it. Can't proceed.
I mean, you're saying the
How about
words.
this? How about this?
You're saying the words that I say, which is the same words, but it doesn't feel right.
How about this? It's a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. You're Nick.
That's no better. I feel like
Maybe if we did the names in the right order.
Well, man. Hey, Kyle, before we get to our drinks this week,
Yes, sir.
we've got a message from a listener.
Nice.
I know. So this is Kyle. There are more Kyles.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a variant.
He's thinking the same thing about you.
I gotcha. Well, we're all aware of each other. The Kyleverse.
Yeah. All right. So Kyle says, I just got through the first lawsuit episode. The first lawsuit in the episode. I think that was the Disney lawsuit.
ScarJo.
Yeah, the ScarJo thing. He says, I think ScarJo. She was more justified in suing Disney than you guys gave her credit.
Okay.
Just because it does almost feel like Disney broke their contract with her. And the only reason I say that is because when the contract was written, it was with the intention of having it only a release in theaters, but then it had to be released on streaming because of the pandemic. I do think that Disney should have addressed that change and released for the pandemic in terms of the contract for any actors who are getting a cut from the box office. I also think that the message she was trying to send with the lawsuit was more one of what if studios start releasing movies on streaming simultaneously with their theater releases, and how does that impact previously written contracts that do not address streaming services? What it really feels like it comes down to is, did Disney do anything wrong by changing their method of release after all of the contract had been written?
I would say agreed. And maybe we didn't do a good job of saying that in the episode.
Yeah.
Because I think it was such an unprecedented time.
Right.
And I don't know the exact language of the contract.
Oh, for sure.
To know one way or the other. And I don't know if Disney did try to negotiate with her and she just said, no, I'd rather sue you.
Right. Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Right.
I don't know what kind of conversations were had, but Disney being in a time sensitive, like we need to release this
Right.
because we're trying to do other things with it.
Right.
And maybe they just couldn't come to a conclusion, so that it was just, the only thing that is left is a lawsuit.
Yeah. I stick by what I said of I still think it's selfish. We also said in the remainder of that episode that we agree with kind of the situation under which she was suing.
Mm-hmm.
But it also just seems like everybody's going through this. But I actually agree with Kyle that, like, yeah, maybe her point or maybe the message that she's sending is that, like, look, we've got to refigure how we do these contracts.
Right.
But to me, it also could have been done behind closed doors. And like we said, maybe it was, and they just weren't listening because maybe they had other things on their mind. I mean, I see what Kyle is saying, but I kind of stick by, like, I just feel like is kind of a selfish thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't help the way something comes across.
Right.
And that's just the way this one kind of came across. And
Yeah.
I think, again, we said it at the end of that episode towards the end of, like, I feel like it just kind of had to happen. Like, I feel like it almost was like just a conversation that had to happen to kind of help this from happening later on.
Yeah.
And so, again, I would still say that I'm not affected one way or the other. I don't look at her in a negative light necessarily.
Correct.
I don't look at Disney in a negative light. It was an unprecedented time, and it just kind of had to happen.
And I agree, too, that, like, every contract hereafter is going to have some sort of pandemic clause. Thanks, Kyle, for writing in.
You thirsty?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
What you got?
All right, so 2 weeks ago, we did a whole episode on guilty pleasures. Little did I know that I actually had a little variety pack from Wicked Weed Brewing that is a guilty pleasures pack of beer.
Well, we screwed that one up.
Or it was just, the realm of things that were happening, and son of a gun.
Serendipity.
Yeah, the beer gods heard us and said, hey, I've got your guilty pleasure right here, bitch.
That's what the beer gods.
The beer gods. Yeah, so they sent us these.
You gotta say that. Wow.
Yeah. So what we've got here are a bunch of imperial stouts.
Ooh, wait, whoa. Imperial stouts?
Yes, sir. Imperial stouts themed to different guilty pleasures.
Can I point out something? Mm-hmm. You and I both have work tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
We're in agreement.
We've got 4 imperial stouts that we are going to dip into here.
Okay, what you got?
This first one
Yeah.
that I'm going to crack open
Okay.
is an imperial stout brewed with golden raisins,
Ooh.
cinnamon, and vanilla.
I know you generally don't like golden raisins, so I'm interested here. What is the general, what's it called? Oh.
Milk and cookies.
Okay, so it's like an oatmeal raisin, I guess is what they're going for?
Sure.
All right. You've
With a
got
big
my
old
attention.
glass of vanilla milk.
You've got my attention.
Yes, I do. This variety pack, we're all, like I said, this is 4 imperial stouts. So this one's ringing in at a true 8.5.
Ooh. Well, we tried to pour it and get a sound of the pour, but this beer is so thick, Kyle, that it makes no sound when you pour it.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Milk and cookies.
Milk and cookies.
I will say Wicked Weed, they were like originally known for their sours and their bitter ales. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that they are branching into stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit more, dare I say, maybe mass market or for experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no knowledge really of Wicked Weed other than of a kind of summer IPA pack
Right.
that I bought of theirs. And honestly, loved them. Like every single one of them were really good.
We did one on an episode, the Perny.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, take this beer, hold it up to the light.
Yep.
You cannot see through this at all.
Yeah,
This is thick.
This is a stout.
It is dark.
Indeed.
It might be darker than the Dunkin' Midnight from a couple weeks ago.
I don't know. I mean, dark is dark.
What you got on the nose?
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Maybe a little coffee.
I was going to say, there's some sort of bitter in there. I didn't know if it was coffee, but there's definitely some sort of bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, but it smells dark.
It does.
Okay.
You going in?
Going in. I'm taking all your lines this episode.
It tastes like a stout.
Yep.
I don't know if I get anything else on those canned words.
Indeed. I don't get
you
golden raisin.
Cinnamon?
Maybe.
Vanilla?
No.
I give vanilla in that, like, that's kind of a standard stout kind of flavor.
Overly sweet flavor.
Yeah. I mean, it's sweet.
It is. It's too sweet.
Yeah.
For what I would normally want.
Correct.
But it's definitely like pinpoint on an imperial stout.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely true to style, but I don't get nothing about this screams milk and cookies to me.
Yeah, no, this one doesn't jump out. Like I was honestly like before reading the whole raisin cinnamon thing, I was nosing it, wondering like this might taste like Oreos, but no, I don't get anything like that.
Like, don't get me wrong, dislike this at all. Like, it is what it is. It's sweet. It's definitely in the 8s for sure.
Sure.
But there's nothing out of this I don't like, other than I probably could have half of one and be good.
That, and I feel like the name's a little misleading. It just tastes like any kind of general stout, imperial stout. It tastes high ABV.
There's nothing flavor-wise that sticks out at all.
It's got a lot of flavor,
Right.
but just not milk and cookies.
Not what's on the can.
Yeah, just not what they're saying that it should be.
We're going to call this milk and cookies because it's a regular stout and we don't know what else to call it.
I'm kind of wondering if once we finish these glasses, if something might poke through. That's got that, like, I wonder if like the beer itself is overtaking whatever it is they've are claiming to have added.
Yeah. I will say, like, stouts too tend to be a little more scent forward when they're warmer too. So like if you got a stout that's a little bit like, you don't want this like
it's not speaking to you. Let it warm up a little bit.
Right.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like
I do, because like as I'm letting it like sit and then coming back to it, I feel like there is like a raisiny note.
Yeah, it's the same reason
in.
like people drink certain beer in blue cans like 32.8 degrees. You want it just above freezing.
Yeah.
Because it mutes any sort of version of flavor that could
possibly eke its way through.
Yeah, and which you don't want any of that. You don't want that flavor. But so when a beer warms up, you actually start to get some of those flavor notes. And in some beers, like I said, you don't want that.
Right.
But I feel like in a beer like this, you actually might want it not
just
crisp.
Above, just below room temperature.
I don't even know that high, but like somewhere in between. Like, maybe take it out of the fridge, let it sit for 5 minutes, then pour it maybe.
In and of itself, as far as imperial ales go, or imperial stouts, I don't mind this.
Oh no, that's my point. Like, it's good. So we got 4 of these, you said? Now you sound
4 imperial stouts.
Listen, I'm here to tell you.
Just gonna get heavier as we go.
We did 8 Oktoberfests
and 6 pumpkin beers.
We can do anything
in one day.
I don't remember that day.
Woo! It was a good time.
It was good episodes. Good episodes.
Indeed.
Now that we've got a drink,
yep.
What do you want to talk about?
Something that has bewildered me. I've wanted us to have a conversation about for quite a while, just because like I feel like it's in our wheelhouse. But I couldn't bring it up because I didn't understand it, and I still don't fully.
Right.
But I feel like I do have at least enough of a grasp around the concept that I think we can have a conversation about it.
Okay.
And this conversation is going to start with NFTs.
No fucking time.
What? What does it stand for?
It stands for non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token.
Yeah. So those are like the pizzas you get sans mushrooms.
Non-fungible tokens. I got you.
That was your dad joke for the
got it
for the episode.
Fungi. I
was trying to make it better.
You got there. So yeah,
NFTs.
An NFT.
Yeah.
So wrapping my head around it, what I came to understand it as is you are buying a digital or the digital representation of a thing. I specify the because it makes you the owner of this thing. Regardless of how many times it's replicated and seen, you own that thing.
Correct.
In its digital form.
Correct.
And you pay a lot of money to own it.
Possibly.
Oh, yeah, in some instances.
Right.
The ones that are making the news.
Yeah, correct.
Ridiculous amounts of money.
Which, let's be honest, is probably the top 5% of what's actually being sold.
Really? Is it that high?
I don't know that.
Oh, sure.
I'm just saying, like, the majority of NFTs that are being sold are not that high profitability. I'm not saying they couldn't be, because I too have seen, like, whoa, that much.
Right.
But the majority of them are smaller trays here and there.
Okay. You're buying a bunch of ones and zeros that have a visual presence.
So what you're really buying is you're buying digital assets. That's what they're referred to as, digital assets. You're essentially buying the signature that follows that item. This signature is an individual thing that goes along with an item.
Right.
An example would be you created the Drep and Stone logo.
Indeed.
Should we buy the NFT
We
for the
need to
Drep and
make
Stone?
that an
Oh
NFT
my
and
god!
Drep and Stone.
Oh shit!
Can you sell it to yourself? Can you make it like
No, but if you make the NFT and
you
create
can buy it for a penny?
no, you just own the NFT because you
Oh, I
create
got
the
you.
image. Yeah. Okay, so the NFT is basically a chain, a signature that follows this item.
Correct.
It's a digital item.
Right.
It follows this item, and essentially what you're doing is you are buying the item, but more you're buying the code or that digital signature
Right.
than you are the item necessarily.
That item can be seen or heard or whatever over and over and over again.
Right.
Making a copy of an image is as easy as going Control C.
Yes, but a copy of the image is not the same as the actual object.
Sure. I'm just saying up until now.
Right.
If you saw a image on your phone, you can take a screenshot.
Sure.
And you are saving that image.
100% so.
So, but it's the ownership of the image.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
that, like you're saying, you're basically paying for that code
Yeah.
that is somehow important.
And well, and I think that's where I can see where we're kind of headed here.
Right.
And you're right. Like you're buying this code that then we're asserting value to of an image that may have been on the internet for the last 20 years.
Sure.
And
It could be an image of an image that's existed for thousands of years. I don't know. Like, I mean,
Possibly, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
so like, and here's like the lines are incredibly blurry. Like any version of new tech, the lines are really blurry, and I'm kind of worried about that.
right.
But okay, let's take a second. Non-fungibility.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that?
Totally.
You do?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So fungibility.
Mushrooms.
Right.
I'm there.
Mario.
Indeed.
Okay, so fungibility is a fancy term for you and I are exchanging a thing, and these things are of equal value.
Okay.
For example, the easy one, and if honestly, like if you go to YouTube and NFT explained, like you're going to see a lot of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
An easy thing would be you give me a $20 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I give you $21 bills, you and
Same
I
value.
have the exact same value. I could give you 4 $5 bills, exact same value.
Right.
That is fungibility. This piece of paper
Right.
and these 20 pieces of paper equal the same amount.
Right.
This is fungible. So you see this with all kind of cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm.
They all have some sort of fungibility and exchange rate, if you will.
Right.
Our generally accepted currencies are fungible.
I follow.
Now, exchange rates notwithstanding, but they're fungible.
Right.
Something that is non-fungible is this thing has value in and of itself, and it is not exchangeable for another thing.
Okay.
In terms
No
of like
bartering.
in terms of like $20 and $21 bills, this thing does not have that equal. That does not mean that you can't exchange that for money, but it is in and of itself a unique asset. It is its own thing. It has value and worth of its own thing, which brings up a whole nother issue of like assigning value and worth.
Right.
And how do we do that?
Right.
And I think we'll get there too.
Okay.
That's where the NFT comes from. The T is token of like this. The token is that bit of code, if you will,
Right.
which is associated with something called a blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk about that too eventually. But this code is unique to this item.
Right.
So that's where the NFT, the name NFT comes from. But you're right. It can be anything. Jack Dorsey's first tweet of something like, this is my first tweet, or like setting up my Twitter or whatever it was. That was the first tweet. That in and of itself is an NFT because it is a singular thing.
Right.
Now, where this comes into play is if someone wants to use that and it's an NFT, I would have to pay the person who owns that NFT whatever value they want for you to be able to use it.
Okay.
So the thing in itself has no value.
Right.
It's just literally code. But we are the ones who are asserting value or assigning value, to that. It's the same thing of a dollar bill. That dollar bill in and of itself is worthless. A pile of gold is worthless.
Correct.
We've assigned value to it.
Right. I'm trying to wrap my head around that hamster thing. Okay. So like by using that thing,
Right.
are you talking about like I can't share that? Like I don't know.
See, well, and that's a good point. Like that's a sticky thing. The internet is kind of predicated on the ability to share and exchange information freely.
Right. Naturally.
Without any sort of, no holds bar.
Right.
So does this NFT technology or this advent of the NFT essentially means like I could take a picture of this apple that's here in the studio, and I could say this is an NFT. That doesn't mean that that apple has any inherent value. Like, value of things is only what someone's willing to pay for it.
Right.
For example, like my car could be quote unquote worth 25 grand.
Right.
But if someone's only willing to pay 5 grand, then my car is worth 5 grand. It's not worth 25.
I feel like that's more or less where I'm starting to come down on it.
Yeah.
Is that it sounds to me like it's basically a savings account.
Uh-huh.
You've given it an image as this is the image of my savings account. Like, I'm looking at images of the NFTs that some of these people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy.
Yeah.
And to me, it just seems like that digital thing is not the value. It's the numbers attached to it.
Correct.
It's that code.
That's exactly it.
That is attached to it that is the value.
That's
You're
exactly
investing all this money to get that code.
Right.
And it's more or less just a savings account that you're hoping will raise in value, that you could then sell that off or not.
Assuming, well, and that's a huge gamble, is assuming that there's a buyer.
Right. Yeah, it's not like it's with a bank that you could hold that funds and then withdraw those funds.
Right. Right. Like this,
I guess. I don't know who when you buy an
that's
NFT, who's getting the money?
that is the point.
You know?
Correct. I correct.
Right.
Like, is it the original creator? Is it the person who said NFT? Like, you know, like
in which in that instance, you know, who cares then? Like, you have the thing now. You've got those numbers. You've got that code, that blockchain, and you can hope to sell that someday to somebody else at best. But it is kind of like, that's how I'm just kind of like very simply looking at it now, is that because nothing that I've seen is like mind-blowingly awesome.
No.
That it's like, oh yeah, no, I see why they spent that much money to get that thing.
Yeah, it's not like the digital rights to, I don't know, Apocalypse Now.
Or you're buying the physical, a physical Picasso.
Correct.
A physical Van Gogh.
Correct.
You're not buying an object that you have that is easily seen as, okay, I'm going to hold on to this for 10 years, and in 10 years, I'm going to take it to Sotheby's, and they're going to auction it off, and I'm going to make a shit ton of money.
But see, that's what someone who's engaging in this trading of NFTs would also say about buying the Picasso. You could buy the Picasso for $180 million, but if you go to Sotheby's in 10 years and someone's willing to pay $10 million, that's what it's worth now.
Right.
It's not worth $200 million because it was worth $180 million 10 years ago. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this value is constantly in flux, and that, I don't want to say is a problem with cryptocurrency and NFTs because they're closely linked. But that's the problem with cryptocurrency and NFTs, is that they're constantly in flux. To be fair, so too is the dollar, and in, you know, the British pound, and all currencies are actually constantly in flux too. But because they're so large, like those banks are so large, because these agreed upon ideas of the worth of that thing is so large, it affects like within the economy, but like your dollar's not going to go as far, kind of thing.
Right.
But the thing itself, because of its physical nature, doesn't change.
Right.
But with an NFT or with a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Shiba, you know, whatever,
There's nothing backing it up.
correct. Like, so it's constantly in flux because it is in flux.
Right.
So we mentioned this term blockchain, and I want to talk about that, but we got another beer.
All right. Imperial Stout number 2 in the Guilty Pleasures variety pack. This is the German chocolate cake. Not at all connected to the country of Germany, just to the man with the last name German. Do you know that?
No.
Look it up.
Okay, so the Black Forest cake must be German then. I don't know if there's a difference. Is there a difference?
Who knows?
Gotcha.
So this Imperial Stout is brewed with chocolate and coconuts.
Oh, God.
Chocolate and coconut flavors.
We'll see.
And this is ranking in at a whopping 8.8%.
Oh, this is the second one? What was the first one?
8.5.
5?
Ready?
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Kaboom. It's dark.
I can see right. Nope, never mind.
No difference. We're still in the
Let me ask you this. You think
cave at midnight.
You think it's the same base? Like it's the same. Like
Oh,
this
sure.
is our imperial stout base. We're
Totally.
just adding crap.
There's a squirt of coconut. Mix it up. Good to go.
I've seen
I could be
coconuts.
wrong.
They don't make
I
that
could be wrong.
sound.
Oh yeah, you just squeeze them. A little coconut juice.
Not how that works.
Yep.
What do you got on the nose?
Coconut.
Wow.
Like I don't get any of the other one.
Now, what was the other thing?
It's milk and cookies.
I don't get any Germans. I get coconut and I get like hints of chocolate.
Yeah, I get a whiff of some chocolate.
Yeah. But it's not chocolate heavy. And when I think like German chocolate cake, like I definitely expect coconut.
Sure.
But I expect like chocolate. And I'm not getting a whole lot of chocolate.
Yeah, no. This is kind of nosing like an Almond Joy.
I was trying to figure out what candy that
Smells
was.
like a Mounds tastes.
What's the difference between a Mounds and an Almond Joy?
Because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Did you not grow up in the 90s?
Yeah, but that's the difference. Is one
Almond Joy's got nuts. Mounds don't, because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
I never put the two together. Now that you say that line, I'm like,
It makes a shit ton of sense.
Whoa, that actually makes sense. Like, good on you, advertisers.
Yeah, that was a jingle and a half. It made me think about it. I mean, not when I was a kid, but
No, as
as
a kid,
an
I'm
adult,
like,
now I get
that
it.
makes sense. I just believed it.
Y'all say so. Whatever.
I'm going in.
All right.
Oh dear God. Oh. Okay, second sip is not as brutal as the first. I'll say that. Oh, buddy.
I'm not offended by it.
It's really damn sweet. Whoa. It is.
I'm telling you, man, these so far are
Oh.
playing in this ball field for me that is like, it's right on the edge of that Kentucky barrel shit. But it's like, it's a few yards back. We're not quite to that level. It's taking a few steps back. It's nosing it. It's right up on the edge of it, but it's not taking me to that point of like, ooh, I can't do it.
Okay. This, for whatever reason, just takes that sweet and cranks that up. Like, it is sweet. I don't know what it is about it, but man, I just get like sweet. Do you get coconut on the palate?
Yep.
Wow.
I get coconut at the start. There's a moment in the middle where the sweet
Peaks?
feels like it's going to take off and never
Yeah.
come back. For me, it flattens out, and then there's a really slow ride down to a bitter.
I
and
agree.
it finishes on that
I
bitter.
agree with that. Like, I actually do like that bitter on the end. That bitter is because it's a nice reprieve from the god awful sweet.
I think that's the difference for us is the arch of the sweetness is at a different place. For
I
me,
don't-
me,
yeah.
it's not going up to a 10.
Woo.
It's like it's hitting it like a 8.5, and then it levels off, and then it just eases back down to this bitter.
If the peak is a 10, I go up to a 15 right away. It's a sweet bomb, man. Like,
It's definitely sweet.
I'm going to finish what's in the glass, but I have a little bit of trouble.
Where it's to me, it's differentiating itself from those Kentucky barrel experiences. Is I don't feel like it's as thick as those are. This to me is not
Correct.
drinking like
Oh, yeah.
syrup, where I feel like those usually do.
Yeah.
This I can still drink it as if it's a stout.
Yeah, this is easy drinking, like as a stout is. It's not a shower beer by any means, but this is easy drinking. Can you imagine?
You wouldn't take a shower.
I would not.
Finish cutting the lawn.
You're gonna drink
Chug
this
one of
in
these badass.
You can drink that in July.
It just like close up your
I
arteries.
mean, I know you like Christmas music in July, but God. Here's the funny thing: I asked for more flavors, and I got it.
and I'm done.
Because I mean, the milk and cookies was just a stout.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
good.
kind of a base stout.
Yeah. All right. So back to this topic, blockchain.
Yep.
All right. So there's a really good video that IBM put out. I think it's actually like 3 or 4 years old at this point. So
Okay.
blockchain's been around for quite some time.
Right.
But the dude explains blockchain, and like, I love this video because it takes these like really difficult kind of high-browed ideas
Concepts, yeah.
of computer programming that I have no knowledge of.
Right.
And it's like, here's what it's like.
Right.
Okay, you and your friends go out to dinner. There are 5 friends. And you lend one of your friends $20. Okay. And 2 weeks later, that friend comes to you and says, "Hey man, how much money do I owe you?" And you say $25. The other friends in that group are like, no, it was $20. So that's essentially what blockchain is. It's essentially a way to show change in ownership and basically like this thing was sold to this person, and then it was sold to this person, and then it was sold to this person. So it's chaining that order of code that we talked about earlier with the NFT.
Right.
It's chaining that. So all of that is built into this item.
Gotcha.
So the NFT would have this blockchain associated with it. The blockchain is that. It's showing transition of ownership. Nick bought the NFT. He then sold the NFT to Kyle. Kyle is now the owner of the NFT, and the blockchain shows that transaction.
Right.
So, and he breaks it down like even further in terms of what this chain would look like in code, which is super cool. And I was like,
Cool.
But he breaks it down in terms of like all of Bitcoin, which is your big cryptocurrency at this point, is based on that. So if I have a Bitcoin, a single Bitcoin, I forget what it's worth right now, but if I have a single Bitcoin and I give that Bitcoin to you, or you buy that Bitcoin, the blockchain shows that transaction. So essentially, like the purpose of the blockchain is that it's more secure. That's the idea. And I'm sure that someone's going to find a way around it. It's more secure, it's more traceable, and it promotes this idea of all of this. We all understand that this money has transferred to this person because anyone can see that particular blockchain.
Right.
That's my assumption. I don't know if that's 100% true for everything, but that's what I gathered.
Like basically, it's building in the provenance into the item digitally, and it's almost like registered in multiple venues, so that there's a more of a consensus of what the value is, what transactions were made,
right,
what the history of this item is.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all digitally backed up. So it's like, you know, if you've ever watched the Netflix, we did a whole thing on it of the fakes,
the artists, the art.
Yeah. I forget what the documentary was, but where they were making these fake paintings and selling them because they created fake provenance.
Right.
You can't do that.
Correct.
With the blockchain.
Correct. Like it is what it is.
Right.
Right.
And it's easier. It's more easily traced.
So the idea is that, back to the NFTs, is that this actually promotes copyright. And the concept is that it allows the original owner to 100% without a doubt own that thing. So no one can essentially say, hey, that Drep and Stone logo you guys created, we actually own that. It's you and I, as Drep and Stone, own that thing because we own the NFT.
Right.
Now, essentially, like we could, you know, if we really wanted to, if someone stole our logo, we could say something like, you know what, we're going to sue you, dude, because you stole our logo. That is our logo, blah, 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 blah. We're going to incur so many court fees and everything else. Whereas this NFT would essentially say like, no. They absolutely own that. Like,
right.
Here's the proof.
Right.
What I go to then is the undermining of the free internet that we kind of talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree that like people who are creating things should be given the copyright and the due credit.
Right.
But at this point, this day and age, like how many times have you, even a GIF, like you don't own that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And like
you send them all the time.
Sure. I mean, we post crap all the time. That like, how many times do you credit the original person who had that video? You just like share the video because it's funny.
Well, and it's just the culture that we've grown up in.
Right.
Is that's the accepted thing. We grew up in a culture where it was cool to create stuff and share it for people to use.
Right. And
you know,
do so freely.
Yeah.
And that was like what the internet was based on.
Right. Like the creation of memes, that's what it was. It was like, make this funny thing, share it,
right,
so that everybody can utilize it.
Sure.
There was never the concept of like, I'm going to create this thing for a monetary value,
right,
so that when other people use it, it will generate revenue for me.
And that to me is like when you start associating revenue. I mean, it's the rise of the YouTube content creator. When you associate revenue with things, then it becomes, okay, now the shit matters because you're making money on it.
Right.
It's like, you know, maybe this isn't a great example, but you have an artist who's painting paintings just for the love of painting. Mm-hmm. And she's not making any money on it, but then she's commissioned to do a piece and now something's writing on it. Mm-hmm. And now like there's money writing on it. So now the piece almost has more worth because someone has said this thing is worth more now. And then retroactively, that artist paintings, her paintings might go for millions of dollars because now they're somehow associated with, oh, but this is work she did before she painted that.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
Whereas the kind of the creator aspect of the internet was originally set up to like just share your shit and like look how many people can see it. Isn't that cool?
Right.
And now it's you got to protect it because if you
Right.
don't, people are going to be all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, even, and like you said, like the things that are going for millions of dollars, they're like inconsequential. They're
Yeah. Like who
stuff.
cares?
Right.
Why would you want to own that?
Right.
It's just a thing.
I mean, it's the same thing. I guess
It's a digital thing.
Sure. I
It's
guess
not
you
even
could-
a thing I can hold and keep safe. Although, I mean, with the blockchain,
You can.
It's safe.
And I think that's the point.
You're making me think of, okay, so Da Vinci made the Mona Lisa.
Right.
Okay, so now the Louvre owns the Mona Lisa.
Right.
But the Mona Lisa has I mean, I would assume at this point in time, Mona Lisa's entered into public domain.
I think so.
I would assume so.
I mean, like you can, as far as I'm aware, you can like, let's say you wanted to make money and create a poster of the Mona Lisa.
Right.
Sure, you can do that. I think. I don't know.
Well, I
don't know
I know
100%.
there's artists that have gone and like they incredibly photograph a painting
Right.
that they then take their picture
Sure.
of the painting and reproduce that in images and have sold it and had no issue with it because
But they're marketing it as this is a reproduction of that
sure
thing.
or a photograph of the thing.
And that's what the NFT argument is okay, you can do that, but it's not the original. It'd be the same of, do you own the Rothko or do you own the super talented Chinese artist who has made the Rothko and we figured out it's not a Rothko?
Not even only that. I mean, if it's a photograph of the Rothko, it's a high quality 4D,
You don't-
7D representation where you
4D
can see
chess.
every fucking fiber of that
Sure.
thing.
You don't own the Rothko.
Right. I own the essence, you know, like
Well,
I,
and that
I
goes back-
paid for it. This is actually a
Right.
better version
That goes back to the
because you
provenance.
can't go rub your face on that.
But that's my point. Like the provenance of that thing is that I own that painting. Look at that big ass painting in my living room.
Sure.
That's mine.
Right.
Versus
I
like,
paid $200 million for it.
sure. Versus my neighbor down there owns a copy of this painting.
And I get that. That is a physical representation. Even if you own Guarnica, I get it. That sucker's huge.
But people who are in
It's
NFTs,
worth $200 million. That's what you paid for it. Then
there's
that's
no
what
difference.
it's worth.
There's no difference. That's their
No,
argument.
there is that's their argument. I'm arguing against that. But there is a tangible difference. And I get it.
Okay.
And I grasp the concept.
Before
I'm just saying I don't get it.
Oh, no, I agree with you. Like you and I are on the same page. Like, yes, but that's their argument. So it's that originality. It's that provenance that you mentioned earlier. You own the original image. It's the same thing, whether it's a digital version or whether it's an actual picture on your wall. It's the same thing.
But what do you have to have as an individual
A computer.
that protects that shit?
Your blockchain. Your blockchain does all of it. That's the idea.
You can't steal a blockchain?
Nope. That's what they're saying. I don't know any of that. I'm not a high-level programmer, hacker.
I get you. So that's what I'm saying,
Right.
though. How, all right, so, like, I mean, what is it connected to?
Well, you're logging into, I guess, like some sort of version of a site. Ocean.
Right, so you have to have a profile, and that's probably got a
I
thing.
think so, but the idea of the blockchain is that it doesn't matter because it's the community is seeing all of this.
Sure.
And you can't change that because when you change one aspect of a blockchain, it changes the others, and people would know right away.
That doesn't match up.
Right. That's my
And
understanding.
again,
of
I
it.
get that. But there's a level.
Sure.
You know, there's a level that I haven't been introduced to understand that part of it.
I haven't leveled up yet.
Yeah, I haven't leveled up because
Nerd.
it doesn't make sense to me of like anything can be hacked.
You've
So
reached,
that's
you've
all
reached
I'm
the end
saying.
of my knowledge.
That's all I'm saying is where
There
it
it is.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know,
No, and
I'm not
that-
worried about the blockchain. I get that. I
Right.
understand those numbers are sacred.
Sure.
But how do you protect from losing your identity? Because identity theft is like a very common thing.
I don't know if it's
somebody
concerned.
pretends to be you,
Yeah.
and they have your login info. Like I would not want to touch that shit.
I don't know
You
how
know?
that works. I'm not
You
100%.
said that very David.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
My name is David Rose,
But
and I don't know how
We put the
that-
lotions at the register.
On that note, let's go to our next beer. What is our next imperial stout?
The next imperial stout we have is brewed with chocolate and natural hemp-like flavors.
Hemp.
This is the pot brownie.
Is that what it's called?
No, just brownie.
Oh, okay.
But wicked weed, and the weed is a different color from everything else. So I
see.
think they're kind of winking and nodding.
I
at
see
us.
that. Good on
And
them.
it's got the
Oh,
good
the
old
medical
the
marijuana
medicinal
sign. Sure.
medicinal marijuana logo.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Good on them.
Ready?
Yeah. That sounded danky. Pour it.
I got good audio.
You do get good audio. We messed up a little bit. This one goes down to 8.7.
Yeah, big drop.
Yeah. What you got on the nose?
It's subtle, but it's there. There is a hempy glow.
There's a little college dorm room in there. Yeah.
That makes itself known.
There's a little.
There's a little 420 poking its glazed eyes through.
You had an art degree, or you have.
Still have it.
That's good.
Multiple.
Yeah. You walk by the studio rooms.
Uh-huh.
You get this whiff?
No, it doesn't smell like turpentine.
Must be just the English departments.
That was outside.
Oh, okay.
Inside, bro, ain't nothing taking over turpentine. But outside,
Definitely.
absolutely.
So
Go out back by the dumpster.
Yeah, man. There's a subtle dank.
Subtle dank and chocolate. Milk chocolate.
Really, there is. Yeah, it's like Hershey's.
Yeah.
You ever had one of those like milk chocolate bunnies?
At a certain religious holiday?
Correct.
Indeed.
I mean, the holiday's religious, but the bunnies aren't. It smells like that. Like you open that package and it's like hollow milk chocolate bunny. That's what this smells like to me. If it was in a frat house.
Yeah.
Like a bunch
Easter
of frat
Sunday at a frat house. I got you.
All right, I'm going in. Oh.
Hey now.
That is unusual. I can tell you that is demonstrably better than that German chocolate cake.
That is interesting.
That is funky in like a really good way.
Yeah. I mean, it dropped the sweetness in half,
It really did.
if not more,
Oh, yeah.
by a lot.
That's a scientific term.
Strong ass coffee at the end.
There really
on
is.
the aftertaste.
And I think it's that nice coffee bitter.
Damn.
And there's a bit of that dank, like right before you get the bitter, you get dank
Yeah.
and then bitter. And I love that the sweet is not stupid intense. And that's my issue with the German chocolate cake is it's just, wow, too much.
Yeah. The sweet for me, like the whole time, it's there, but it's never the prominent thing.
Right.
It never reaches to the top.
Man.
But then, man, the backside of the whole thing is just pleasant AF.
The roller coaster that you go on in this sip
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Indeed.
Like you have that like subtle chocolate note in the beginning. It kind of takes you up with the sweet, definitely not as high as a German chocolate cake.
Right.
And then you get dropped off in this really nice bitter coffee herbal dank.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, totally. This is up there with like some of the best stouts I've ever had.
I don't this
is fantastic.
This is delicious.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's easy drinking.
Yeah.
It's
really
not syrupy.
but it's honestly it's scary easy drinking. It does not.
It is scary in terms of like that it's an imperial stout.
Oh man. Yeah.
But no, you nailed it. Like the ride that you go on through this, the depths.
Yeah. That's
Man.
delicious.
It's really good.
Back to our argument of like the physical versus the NFT or the digital.
Sure.
Okay. This then I think brings us into the realm of the metaverse.
Okay, yeah. So like
Yeah.
one way that I saw an explanation of what NFTs are
Right.
that helped me kind of grasp the concept was it was a guy in a video, and he said if you've ever bought a skin for a character in a video game where it was
Right.
like an additional purchase,
Sure.
and now you have that skin, and it's not a skin that everybody playing the game has, it's individual because you paid extra for that skin,
Right.
then you already kind of understand the concept of what an NFT is.
Correct.
You've purchased this thing and now you own it.
Right.
And you have this additional thing.
Right.
And so that did kind of help me wrap my brain around what we're talking about. It's an additional thing. It's not a real life thing. It's just a digital thing that I can now apply on a character or whatever.
Sure.
That helps me grasp it of why would you ever pay for this digital thing?
So
it's additional content.
To kind of take that,
own that.
To kind of take that one step further, like a unique NFT would be like, so the game you're paying, $5 to the game to be able to have that skin. The game is giving you the rights to that particular NFT.
Right.
Your own NFT would be like, I made this skin. This is my skin. It is mine. Here is my NFT for this skin.
Right. And then nobody else can purchase the skin.
Unless you allow them to do that.
Right.
Or purchase rights or purchase, variations. Exactly. I really like that. Yeah.
Right.
So then this idea of the metaverse.
Right.
Which is Facebook capitalizing on a term that has already existed prior to Facebook now becoming Meta.
Yeah, they did it,
which is really interesting. Which I want to talk a little bit about. But
it's very meta.
Correct.
Adorable.
Which, side note, did you watch that video with Zuckerberg?
No,
okay.
A little bit.
You
clips of it.
Listen, go back and watch it. I understood what he was saying. I was distracted by his lack of eyebrows.
Sure.
I mean, that's just me, and maybe that says more about who I am.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Superficial. It's fine.
That's exactly.
But no, the dude's a robot.
I read comments, and I've always, I've seen
Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg, easy punching bag. Got it.
Sure. I've read,
low fruit.
Exactly. But I'm watching that going they are all correct. He doesn't blink very often.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of creepy as shit.
Yeah.
To me,
agreed. Okay. No, anytime I've ever seen the guy give a presentation or anything, he certainly does not have a Steve Jobs charisma.
Yeah.
Not that Steve Jobs was an overly charismatic guy, but he kind of could command a room.
Correct.
Zuckerberg doesn't have that.
So essentially what Facebook as a company has done is that they're transitioning into what they're calling Meta.
Mm-hmm.
And what it really amounts to is a digital space that becomes a 3D physical representation of a space.
Right.
And why I'm bridging the gap here is an NFT would be something like, okay, in my digital house, I have purchased this image and it is hanging on my wall.
Right.
That of my quote unquote house.
Right.
That image doesn't exist. My whole house doesn't exist. But I own the house and I own that thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not impressed. In that instance, okay, but this other person that has their house, we're talking millions and billions of houses, has a screenshot of the thing that I own hanging in their house.
Correct.
Okay, now technically, if I ever catch them with
the original.
If I ever catch them, I could technically maybe
Sure.
raise an issue within the digital police of, hey, Dickwad's got a picture hanging up.
It's got a weird name too.
yeah, his handles. I didn't make that name. Again, you're purchasing the numbers.
Correct.
You're purchasing that blockchain, and that's why that's the only way I can rationalize it, is that it's like a savings account.
Right.
I own these things, and hopefully they will increase in value, and then I will sell them again at some point in time.
But to some degree, I buy the Van Gogh. The Van Gogh is my savings account. It's the same thing.
100%.
Yeah. And
totally.
That is the argument, is whether you buy the digital or you buy the physical, the only difference is you can physically touch that thing and this is my object.
And I get that, but it's we have a history.
Well, that right there, my friend, is the point. Correct.
We have a history of showing how art appreciates, and we can understand that if you own that Van Gogh today, more than likely in 20 years, it will have increased in value a few times over.
And that is the point. Because what we're doing, if we're all, and I say we're all, if we collectively kind of buy into this Facebook Meta, whatever, we're all engaging in this. We don't know what 10 years down the line is going to look like. digitally.
Right.
Now, we can kind of think about, okay, so as long as this piece of art is fine, as long as we keep it in a good condition, as long as, the house doesn't burn down around it, that piece of art's still going to be there in 10 years. We don't know that about a digital thing. We can think it's going to be there, but we don't necessarily know that. So
But
me,
that's where the provenance, I think, goes into it. Like the fact that Jay-Z owned this blockchain, that improves its provenance.
exactly.
And so that when he sells it, if the crown prince of Djibouti decides to then purchase it,
Djibouti.
perhaps that then increases its value.
Right.
So it's just passing around numbers between rich people.
And that's exactly
The fact
it.
that we've all now owned this series of numbers is making it mega valuable.
And that's my point of like, you and I can go buy a representation of that Van Gogh. We can buy, hell, let's say you and I could buy a 10-foot by 10-foot version of Starry Night. I know, that's a big
ass Starry Night.
It's a big ass Starry, but it's not the original.
Right.
So we could even have like the biggest Starry.
Better version.
Exactly, but it's not the original because so-and-so owns the original and he's transferred it to this person, this person, this person, and that's all that matters because that's the original. Again, it comes down to this arbitrary assertion of value in that Jay-Z owned this and then Crown Prince of Djibouti owned this.
Love that guy.
He's a good guy. He's actually a sponsor of the podcast.
No. I don't know if they have a monarchy in Djibouti.
I don't know if they have a crown prince either. But the point is, it's like, it literally, like you just said, it's the passing around of just rich person thing.
Right.
So the thing itself has zero value. I mean, ultimately, you could say the Van Gogh has no value.
Right.
It literally is just like toxic paint on canvas or wood or whatever it is. I don't know.
And that's been like where I've been more or less like focusing my understanding of NFTs in general.
Right.
Is in the realm of art.
Sure.
Because you look at a Rothko, and a Rothko is very unimpressive, certainly nowadays.
I think people would disagree, but
and
sure.
the fact, especially nowadays.
Sure.
Like, I can understand if you were in the time period when he was creating them and the conversation he was trying to have, the things he was trying to create, I get it. Nowadays, nobody can look at that and be like, that's, man.
Okay.
Wow, impressive. Look at what he did there. Filled with paint. Amazing. I couldn't do that.
Okay. So
that's all I'm saying is like and those have created this massive amount of value because rich people have decided to put value in it,
and that's with anything,
and that's what this is,
right?
But it's just like it's on such a higher level, and I think it's because there's a limited amount of Rothkos.
Correct.
There's a limited amount of Van Goghs. There's a limited amount of Picassos that we can all as rich people. And now I'm this rising rich person, and I want to invest in a Rothko.
That's
There's
why
not as much available, but we have this digital world
right.
where we can have an endless amount.
I do want to talk about the metaverse a little bit more. Before we do that, we got one more beer, Kyle, in our Guilty Pleasures pack.
One more beer.
All right, Kyle, what is our last Guilty Pleasure stout?
Our last Guilty Pleasure is the Wicked Weed Brewing S'mores.
Oh, this sounds sweet.
Hitting in at 9%.
Okay.
This is Imperial Stout brewed with chocolate, vanilla, and cinnamon. So I'm not sure how that's different from the milk and cookies.
All right. Well, let's crack into it and find out. Well, this one is look at that. Actually, I don't think it's as dark as the other three. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's
Disagree.
It's the exact same.
You say so.
All right, what you got on those?
This one smells identical to the first.
As in, not a whole lot.
As in, yeah, I'm not getting really anything other than stout. Maybe a touch more of cinnamon.
Yeah, I think there's a little more cinnamon. I think you're right. Do you get chocolate? I don't get chocolate.
I mean, to me, chocolate is not in terms of the bouquet.
Okay.
I don't think chocolate ever jumps out. I think pretty much anything can dominate chocolate. Chocolate is not a strong aroma.
But you open a pack of like a Ghirardelli chocolate bar or like even a Hershey's chocolate bar. Like there's a certain smell to that. I don't get any of this.
What's in that package, though, when you open it up?
Chocolate.
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay.
I think chocolate can be dominated
I
by
see.
practically anything else.
All right, I'm going in.
It does not taste like the first. It is heavy marshmallow.
Marshmallow. Yeah.
It's marshmallow in the middle,
Yeah.
and then it falls down into like a dark chocolate,
Yeah, you're right. Like
like a bitter dark chocolate.
it honestly, like this is the only one that I've been like true to name. Like this, it kind of tastes like a s'more. You get some marshmallow, you get some chocolate, you don't get any graham
No
cracker.
graham. No graham.
No graham.
I'm missing the graham. I wish I had some graham. No, but this tastes like
That's a Sandlot reference for you.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put the mallow between the graham. I wish it had a little graham that would polish off the s'mores.
That's what I'm thinking that they're saying is cinnamon, but I'm not getting a lot. I'm not getting enough of it.
Oh yeah, I don't get cinnamon at all.
Cinnamon.
I don't get any cinnamon on the palate.
Because I go cinnamon graham. Like that's what I want in my mallow. In my mallow. In my s'more. I want the cinnamon graham.
In my mouth. I'm just getting chocolate and marshmallow.
Of these four, which one you taking another of?
Ah man, hands down, brownie.
Me too.
That pot brownie. That was all right.
I will say that was good.
Hands
that
down.
was delicious.
Yeah, that was really good. Like, I'm going to say, like, when I bought this pack, I expected it to be very unpleasant. And I don't think
I love that you bought it though. Like I'm proud of you.
I bought that strictly for like, yeah, no, we'll do this on the pod and I'll hate all of it. and I totally expected that.
Right.
But I don't think I've necessarily put any of them in the category of like disliked, unpleasant.
I will only say that with a German chocolate cake because it's so sweet. That's the only one I'm like, I do not need any more of that.
Sure. Fair enough.
The other three, yeah, give me another pour. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. I would actually seek out another one of these brownies for sure.
The
Other two, I'm okay with. Give it to me. Don't whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick. Let's wrap this up. I want to talk about where Facebook is going with this idea of meta. Okay. And I don't want to talk about it super in depth because like I don't think we know enough. I don't think we've seen enough yet. But I'm worried. Because to me, this is the version of the oasis that we see in Ready Player One. It is the all-encompassing version of digital space. It is literally flying in the face of all data that says digital world we need less of. We need less screens. We need less of all of this. It is depressing everybody. And yet Facebook is just leaning in so damn hard.
Right.
We're heading towards what? Yeah,
I almost feel like even Wally's not
that crazy.
predicting far enough.
Yeah.
I said it the other day. Like what I think we're witnessing in real time is we've been working there ever since the introduction of social media.
Right.
We've got your real life and you've got your digital life.
Yeah.
Your representation of life.
Right.
And for the past, decade, we've been inching closer to where the importance of your digital life
is tilting,
is gaining percentage, and your real life is losing percentage. Your real life is your job and your, just your day to day. But when I get home, it's my digital life that becomes the most important thing.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing in real time is those two things becoming equivalent and even your digital life surpassing and becoming more important than your actual life.
And that worries me.
I don't say that it by any means do I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't guess we need to go into that.
Okay. I mean, essentially like what I took away from the viewing of these videos, other than Mark Zuckerberg as a robot, is that we're giving this company so much authority over us as individuals. We are literally handing over, and I don't know, I could be blowing out of proportion, but it feels like here is my representation of who I am as a person, whether it's through my avatar, whether it's through, I can have a digital representation of my house, whatever.
Right.
And this is the digital version of myself, and come meet me here.
Right.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, literally the other day, he like fist bumps or high fives someone, and like they're both wearing haptic gloves, and they can both feel it,
Right.
and like
But they're distance apart.
correct, and it simulates like version of real touch. And my problem is like, when do we draw that line of, but it's not real?
I don't think we do. I mean,
I don't think we do
you
either,
know,
and that's what scares me. That's what has me worried.
literature, cinema, like everything is suggested. Like it's almost like it's not so much a prediction, but it's almost like a map of like,
Right.
this is where you're supposed to go.
This is where you're headed.
So the majority of people are just going to be accepting of like, oh, we're finally there because I saw that thing in that movie 10 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, no, this is the right thing to do. You don't even have to question it.
It takes me back to Jurassic Park. Like, we were so wrapped up in whether we could, we never considered whether we should.
Good one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Totally.
And that's the thing of like, and I also have that consideration of, am I my grandparents of like, these video games are really bad for you. And I'm just like, grandpa, don't worry about it.
Sure, but at the same time, I think like that's a necessary voice to have,
Right.
Because it'll at least make a different generation question
Sure.
the morality of even if the thing's already been done and rethink it now based off of what other people have said about it.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm really, really cautious. Like, I am not going to be an early adopter. I don't think either of us are.
Not only that, but like I think it's also interesting because like these concepts and everything are like for people with wealth beyond my understanding anyway.
Right.
So like even trying to interpret it seems folly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I don't know. You're almost.
But it's gonna
You don't
affect
want to
us.
be negligent.
Right.
You know, you want to be aware.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, yeah, you're going to be affected by it one way or the other.
And I look at it too of like a situation of, is it going to affect you and I? Yeah, but probably in a minuscule way. Is
Sure.
it going to affect your daughters? Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Will it affect their children? Unequivocally so.
Right. Massively.
Right. And so it's that like progression of, okay, so the decisions that we're making now are not necessarily our decisions, but they're decisions for a generation or two later. And are we equipped to make that decision?
Right. And Valentine's Day. Bummer. That's a Ghostbusters 2 reference.
You're welcome. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
No, me neither. At least at this point in time. We're going to revisit this at some point.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
future.
There's certainly more conversation to have.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, I still just don't understand it well enough to have that
Well,
conversation.
and I don't think it's just that. I think it's like we just don't have enough information yet. We don't know where this is going to go because we're not the ones who are making these decisions.
Yeah. In
By
any way.
any means.
In any way.
By any means. We're just commenting on the shit that's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to know your opinion on NFTs. We want to know your opinion on the metaverse and how it corresponds to the Oasis.
Yeah. Tell us the positive spin on it because we're having a hard time finding it. I'm sure it's there.
Is
but
it?
What do you think?
Let us know.
Yeah.
And we also want to know, have you had the Guilty Pleasures variety pack from Wicked Weed Brewing? Because it's a roller coaster and a half.
Indeed. There's a lot happening there. Man, go try that brownie. I dare you to say that that's not fun because it's a good time.
I agree with that. That is delightful.
Yeah.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. You find us, you like us. We'll like you right back. We'll share some comments. We'll talk about brownies.
If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by rating us whatever it is you find great podcasts like this one. You can literally walk outside in your bathrobe, covered, of course. Shout at the top of your lungs.
Uncovered if preferable.
You heard about Drep and Stone? To anybody who's listening.
No.
Is that what they're going to say?
Well, yeah, that
Well,
was
that's
them
only in the
responding.
South. Right.
Yeah.
No.
Nah, sir.
No, I haven't. Sure. Well, tell them about Drep and Stone.
Yeah.
You can also support the podcast financially through our Buy Me a Coffee page. It's buymeacoffee.com/drepandstone. Helps keep the lights on, helps keep the beer flowing.
You know it.
I do know it. That's why I said it.
And now I know it.
We've agreed concordantly.
And now you know it.
We all know it. Hey, buddy. May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Yeah.
If you'd like a sticker, let us know.
That's did we mess this up or did we do the right thing?
I think we killed it. We're dripping stone. We don't mess shit up. We make it better. Imperial stouts. God bless.
I trust you. I trust you. Sorry.
Doesn't sound like it. So oops, sorry, didn't do that.
Look, I trusted you.
You can fix that.
Hi, I'm Lisa calling you from Delaware BPO. How are you doing today?
I'm buying NFTs,
Glad to hear
Lisa.
that.
Oh,
At Delaware BPO, we handle your company's incoming
Really happy to
and
hear that.
outgoing customer calls at a very cheap rate.
no shit.
So, if you are interested to hire us, please say yes.
No. She hung up on me.
That was delightful. Another.
But you drive down this back road. Okay, so now that I'm saying it, it seems really sketchy. But you
you're
drive
digging
down this
yourself
back
in a hole.
road. I know. You drive down this back road, and some dude has a goat tied up outside the house.
Sure. I like when we're riffing on a thing and it's like we're keeping it in the boundary, and then one of us just like takes it
Too far?
way out. Like
So I buy the Van Gogh. The Vandigo?
Vandigo. Don't go chasing waterfalls. DJ Booty.